And I got somebody asking me where the number at for the caller.
Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and get it up in there.
What is it?
May as well get it up there while we're playing the intro music. We got it up in there.
What is the number?
The number is 518-351-9464. Again, that's 518-351-9464. We're about to get it going, Coach. I want to thank everybody this evening for tuning in to the HBCU Coach's Corner, hosted by none other than the swag legend himself, Coach Johnnie Cole. And I'm his trusty sidekick, Rocky Miller. Let's get this started. Coach Cole, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Look, I'm winning again, man. I had I'm teaching now. I had a meeting with my principal. I was sweating bullets. And I came in there, man, and she gave me so many accolades, man. I just, she was like, hey, you the cornerstone, man. These kids around here love you. Whatever I can do. You know how when your boss call you in and then they call your other boss, the AD from downtown, and man, I won another championship, Coach.
Hey, Coach, it's funny that you say that because there's a lot of coaches this time of year that's not getting those kind of, and we're going to get into that. This time of year is a tenuous time for coaches, Coach.
Yes, it's a tough time, man. Hold on. It's a time.
Coach, what do you mean with my mic is terrible? Hold on, let me make sure my audio and stuff is right. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me?
My folks say they own now, Coach.
All right. Maybe it's my wife. Maybe. Hey, everybody, is my sound on? I got static in my mic. Is that what you said?
Or is that my mic?
No, that ain't.
Hello.
Hold on. Testing 1, 2. You guys hear me? Can you hear me? Hopefully I've improved my sound. It's always Coach. Something, Coach.
Coach, that was static. I'm thinking that's my static. That's your static.
Yeah, Coach. See? You was trying to fix your system, and it was my system that was the problem, Coach. My bad, Coach.
Jesus Christ.
My bad, Coach. My bad, man.
Let's get rolling, man.
All right.
Look.
Again, this is HBCU Coach's Corner, and we're here with Coach Johnnie Cole, your host, and I'm his trusty sidekick, Rocky Miller. Man, I thank y'all for hanging in there, man, because a lot of people would have fell off, man, with how my sound was sounding. Thank you, Keisha, so much for my lovely wife for letting me know, because Coach Cole didn't let me know that my sound was jacked up. He he about to throw his computer away. Thinking it was me.
Man, look, this just been one of those days for me, man. And my mom, my beautiful mom, the queen, the matriarch of the Cole family, man, turned 90 years old today. And my brother's been sending me pictures, and man, it's been a wonderful day for me, bro. I'm ready to rock and roll, man.
I feel like this is gonna be a great show, Coach Cole, as everybody is logging in. You had a good day. Let's get this conversation started, Coach. Since we're here, there's a lot of rumors in the rumor mill, Coach. There's a lot of rumors in the rumor mill. And from a coaching perspective, right? Now, me and you've talked extensively about your success, so I don't know if you had days like this. But there are rumors around, there's rumors and rumors of coaches being fired, coaches being let go, coaches are walking the plank this week. As a coach, as you're trying to manage your team, right? Have you had a situation like this, or can you relate to this at all?
Most definitely I can relate to it. And, I'm going to speak to the people who's trying to get into this coaching business. There's two types of coaches. There's one to get hired and one to get fired. And I've been on both sides of the table. regrettably, I never been on the table of being fired because I wasn't winning. It's always been something else behind it. And unfortunately, that's unfortunate for me. But these other guys, I mean, you got to win. At the end of the day, coaches are hard to win football games. It ain't like you the preacher. You just had a bad day and you didn't get nobody to get baptized. Coaching, you got 11 times to do it. On the big leagues, you got 12 weekends to win. And you got to be on that winning side of it. And that's a part of the profession. So, I mean, you see Texas A&M gave up $76 million.
Wow.
They serious about football. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Southern University today, surprised everybody. Dooley is 2 years in his contract, and they found that, and the one thing about Southern, and I've worked at Southern depends on their football program to win football games. That is a part of their budget. And so they're serious about football out there. I had the opportunity to coach with Pete Richardson, who also coached me in high school, and he had 17 great seasons. And even having 17 great seasons, he has one losing season, and they end up getting rid of him, which I disagree with. But hey, man, that's the Southern Baton Rouge way.
Well, Coach, in Dooley's situation, let's bring the two coaches that are rumored to be fired and let go. One is the aforementioned Eric Dooley, and the other is McKinley from your alma mater, right? Now,
yes.
These guys were, in my opinion, if in fact they are let go, they were let go for performance. They weren't let go for personality conflicts or anything like that. I think in Coach Dooley's situation, he came into a situation where it was expected for him to win right away because Southern wasn't in a situation where they were down and out. You know what I mean? They just needed somebody to take control of the ship, after having an interim coach for a season. He just needed to come in and right the ship, install his systems in, and, and the expectation was take Southern to the championship. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do that. And to be perfectly honest with you, there was a regression in the program over the last 2 years. So in that situation, I think, you could say he was justly fired. But, Coach, how is it nowadays that coaches aren't getting those 3, 4, 5 years to turn programs around or right the ship?
Well, that in today's society, everything is right now. It's right now. And when there are serious people about serious football programs, and in the HBCU, sometimes, the program, they don't take football serious. They let a guy stay in there and rot and finish his contract when sometimes he needs to get in and get out. So that's why these contracts are shorter now. On the Division II level in HBCU schools, sometimes you don't even sign contracts. You year to year. So it depends on where you go to school at. But unfortunately for Coach Dooley, he had a reputation of scoring. You're right. He didn't take over a program that was down and out. They were looking for him to take it to the next level, and he just didn't get it done. And they were playing bad on really both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think in his situation, with them struggling on offense in particular, with him being an offensive-oriented coach, I believe if they were scoring 35, 40 points a game and losing because of an inept defense, then that would, to me, in my opinion, that would have bought him some time, right? Because maybe he would have had time to bring the right guy in as a defensive coordinator.
Right.
The other problem, with him being the offensive guy, the offensive mind, and the team struggling offensively, I mean, I think that's an indictment on him as a coach in some regard. But I heard in an interview earlier this year on the Jaguar Journal, and this is not a quote from Coach Dooley, but this is just a summation of what I heard him say. And my apologies to Coach Dooley if this wasn't the sentiment that he got, but I'll go ahead and mention it because I think this is what I got. He simply stated that he's an offensive coach. He's an offensive mind, and he wouldn't want a head coach under the circumstances that he wasn't calling plays. And as this season progressed and they began to, as you pointed out a number of times, score under the national average, as an offensive-minded coach, is it being stubborn to say, I'm going to call the plays no matter what the performance is of the offense? I'm not going to bring anybody else in to call plays, especially when you're struggling on both sides of the ball. Like, what do you think about that, Coach? You know, from a coach's perspective, if you're part of the problem, what do you think you should do as the head coach, as the head man, if the side of the ball that you specialize in is the one struggling?
Well, Coach, I'll tell you that I had that problem at Texas Southern in my third year. I thought we were good enough, and I thought we were on our way to winning championships, but we wasn't moving the ball because I like to throw the ball. People like to throw the ball, but we didn't have that guy to throw the ball. So sometimes as the head coach, or the quarterback, you got to make personnel changes as well. And I think you should start from there because Dooley was a successful, or still is, I would say, a successful offensive coordinator. And you start looking at what are we doing? Are we doing what it takes to the athletes we have? Because you got to formate your system around who you have, your personnel. And he was still young there. You know what I mean? He was still young. He was still in his honeymoon year. So he had room, to screw up a little bit. But when you're selling the wrong people tickets and not pointing at yourself and pointing at the players, that's a no-no for a coach. That's the worst thing to me as a coach is to start pointing at your players about they not getting it done. Because guess what? You brought them there. You know what I mean? You brought your players there. You sat in these people's houses and said that your kid can fit in what we do. So I think one of the things that when I'm seeing black college football, I'm seeing a lot of personnel players that are in wrong positions that need to be moved. You got a lineman that's 6'2", a defensive lineman 6'2", and he 370, 350. He might need to be on the offensive side because these offenses are wide open. So these defenses now are getting more athletic kids, where they, especially on the defense line, where they can retrace their steps. So the first thing he should have done to me was reevaluate his personnel, make changes when he should, because I think he stayed with that quarterback too long. They had 3 or 4 more. I seen a roster. He never made a quarterback change to shake things up. So I think he just missed on a lot of opportunities he had to give, his bosses to say, I'm trying to do what it takes to win. And a lot of coaches get their egos in the way as well.
Let me ask you, Coach, have you ever been in a circumstance, and you're talking personnel, and I'm going to go to a specific situation here. This is a hypothetical, Coach. Have you ever been in a situation where you have 2 quarterbacks or maybe even 3 quarterbacks? One guy runs your system better than the other. However, the guy who's the better quarterback and his attributes may be another player. Have you been in that situation where the guy who's the better quarterback, so to speak, doesn't run your system as well as another guy?
Coach, I'm the expert in that. That's my thing. When I was at Tennessee State, we had a kid named Todd Valentine who was already there, and we got a transfer in from University of Pittsburgh, a guy named Leon Murray. And we called him up in Pittsburgh. They call him Pick Feet. I said, well, why is that? Because he's always over in the corner picking his feet. And he wasn't playing up there, so he ended up transferring here. And during the summer camp, I knew that he was the better quarterback. But I ended up starting Todd and said, look, Todd will start the game off. And if he go cold, then we'll put Leon in. And we went that direction. And Leon came in and went 15 for 15. And the rest is history. He went on to break all Tennessee State's records and everything else. And he was up for the Heisman. Then when I went to Alabama State, I came in with a kid named Darnell Kennedy. And then we got a transfer quarterback from Oklahoma State named Tiger. Now, both of them could play, coach, but Durham Valentine had been there. And he knew the system. And so I met with the two guys and look, both of y'all good enough to start, but one of y'all gonna have to go to wide receiver. And Tiger, I think it's you, because Darnell has been under me, and Darnell knows the system. Guess what? Both of them made All-American. And Darnell Kennedy went on to play in the blue-gray game down there, and at that time he finished number 6 in all of NCAA passing. And he's a legend. He still owns the records down there in Alabama State.
Hey, Coach, you must be speaking facts because we're getting all these comments about Murray was hell and Leon Murray was the real deal and Kennedy was cold too. And these are all guys that you coach. Is that correct, Coach?
I raised, Coach. Let's get that straight. I raised. No, I coached him, and we had some great times, man. I talk about those guys all the time. Those was true players, Coach. They could get it done any kind of way, and how we change plays at the line of scrimmage, because I believe in putting our offense in the right situation. So whatever our defense could do, those two could see it, look over at me, and or either make the change and get us to the play that we need to be.
So Coach, just to also mention, not to be left out, Coach McKinley was also, there is rumored, this is not an official report, it's rumored that Coach McKinney has been let go or was told he's not going to be renewed or whatever the situation is, say, Coach. And that's what my people are saying. So I trust the people that I talk to down there at TSU, and I'm assuming that what they're saying is good money, whether it's been announced publicly or not. That's what I'm going with. In this moment, Coach, this is what I want to talk about. And I kind of asked you this before. Because I'm assuming the position is vacant, Coach. Would you consider coaching at your alma mater again, Coach?
I would love to coach just off either going back to my alma mater. My career was cut short, and it left a taste in my mouth because I waited so long and I went through the gauntlet of becoming the head coach there. When I got there, Rocky, in 1981, the alumni getting off the plane, the alumni said, well, I didn't know they recruited managers. Now, true enough, if I was a coach, I was small, Rocky. I was small. But the coaching staff knew my family. They knew my brothers. They had coached my brothers, so they knew my bloodline. And I said, no, I'm not no manager, but I guarantee you I could play. He said, well, I guess you could play. They brought you here. Well, I sit the bench the first 3 years, Rob, and learned the offense and went through 2 coaches and ended up turning around and broke all the passing school records, seasonal records there at TSU. And then I started coaching there. As soon as I got through playing, the coach hired me. And I seen why we don't win there. You know what I mean? And in my mind, I always wanted to say, man, I want to come back here and I want to be able to win. And when we played those white schools, Coach, they used to beat us so bad. But then when it came to draft time and going to the NFL, we sending 4, 5, and 6 players to the pros. So I always knew we had great players at Texas Southern. We have great players at Texas Southern. We just ain't never had great teams. And I know why, and it costs to find that out. But yeah, I would love to go back there and coach, but everything's got to be in place. When I was there as a coach, we had 1 compliance officer. I got there before the AD and the president. So hopefully, if that comes, that I am chosen by Dr. Granger, then I'm his guy,
Yeah.
And I'm the president's guy, and some people look at me and my brother's career, but everywhere we went, it was problems there. And we coming in on top of an AD that's leaving out, then another AD coming in, or a president leaving out. And what happens, and me and you talk about this a lot, is nobody wants a loser. Nobody cares what a loser is doing. But when that light get on you and you ain't doing what's right, that light gonna shine. And it so happened that we've won everywhere we've been, and everywhere we've been, they had issues before we even showed up.
You bring up a very interesting point, Coach. You saying the winning illuminates the program, and the program's culture is then exposed to everybody outside of the program.
Yes.
And that's an interesting point, because I never really thought about it in that regard, is that the winning brings the eyes to the program, and if you're not adequately prepared to deal with that kind of spotlight or platform, right, it can illuminate your blemishes as well. And
here's the crazy part. But I'll give you an example. My brother, we won it out at Tennessee State, right? They didn't want to give him no raise. He was making $75,000 with 2 OVC championships, 2, and the only black coach and the only black team to ever win, right? And they wouldn't give him a raise. And I was making $40,000 as one of the top offensive coordinators in the country. Well, I ain't talking about black, I'm talking about in the country. Then Alabama State came down and doubled his salary, doubled my salary, and we came out there. But what happened was board members were fighting over who's in control. So we had board members that brought us and a board member that didn't want us there. So Alabama State turned around and paid a lawyer $300,000 to investigate my winning coach. Texas A&M was paying a man $76 million because he don't win. So, those are things that people don't talk about when they talk about the Cole brothers, about, really what really happened. What really is going on? These guys are doing the kids' grades are going, we're graduating players, we're winning championships. And I just tell my brother most of the time, man, we were way ahead of our time. We was way ahead.
Coach, I got a question that just popped in my head, right? Now we can ask this question. If coaches have been rehired after domestic violence, coaches have been rehired after misappropriating funds, coaches being rehired after calling prostitutes and soliciting prostitutes with the school's credit card. We talking about different coaches all over the country. We're not talking about but these coaches have been rehired, and now these men that come to my mind are head coaches all over the country. And I think we live in a nation of second chances, Coach. Yes. And this is what I want to ask anybody, and y'all had a call-in number right now, and we may as well open up the call-in number early. Y'all see it on the screen. Y'all tell me why. Tell me why. Tell Coach Cole why. Why can't he be rehired as head coach at his alma mater? The only coach to win a SWAC championship at TSU. Please make it plain for me why Coach Cole should be rehired at TSU, Texas Southern University. Remember, he ain't killed nobody. He is completely the NCAA. He's been cleared by the NCAA. There's no problem with as that concerned. All his degrees and credentials are up to date and accurate, and he's been involved with children and young men and women the entire time he's been had a hiatus in coaching, and he's been in administration and sports the entire time. You tell me, guys, and y'all see how sharp he is and how close he stays to the game with not only his association, with HBCU Coaches Corner, but also with his consultations and conversations with current coaches all over the country. Y'all explain to me why Coach Cole should not be coaching, the head coach of TSU. Caller, we got you live on the air. Please give me your name and where you're calling from.
Roy Wallace from Phoenix, Arizona.
Go ahead, Roy. Tell me something good.
Rocky, you just said it all when you said we're a country of second chances, but all those seconds.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Rocky?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, you said a whole lot when you said we're a country of second chances, but you left out one thing.
What is that?
That's the other coaches get second chances. We hold our people hostage.
Oh, okay. Hold up, coach. Hold up, coach. Let me let me ask you this. Now, HBCUs are supposed to be for black men and black women. That's what the HBCU education systems were created for black men and black women. So what are you trying to say?
Absolutely. But they ain't for black men and black women, but they ain't for black men and giving them black men and black women a second chance. It's evident right here. All that you said, all those coaches, they can do anything they want to do, get fired, they're going to get another job tomorrow. They're going to have a job before they leave there. Happens every day. But us, as our people, no. Those guys, them Cole brothers, winning coaches. Now, you do the math. How much did they pay that man that was losing to leave Texas?
$76 million.
$76 million, coach.
Now you do the math. And they paid somebody $300,000 to get rid of a winning coach. It's mathematics, brother. We count bad. We don't know how to count. Football is your winningest program on your college campus. And if you don't want to win, if you don't want to win in program, you're not going to be bringing money in. So here's what I suggest for anybody, not just Texas Southern, anybody out there that wants Coach Cole, it's easy. It could be easy to get him. You go to the president as the alumni and say, hey, if you want to lose and you don't want the revenue to come into the school, you don't want our revenue as alumni. That's simple.
Well, let me say this. I mean, it's hard for me to believe, and I know you guys are much more familiar with HBCUs and HBCU systems than I am. But I've been told my entire life that HBCUs were built for black men and black women, and I cannot accept that second chances aren't part of those opportunities. Hey, guy, you can hold on a moment, but I got another caller with the last 40888. You're live on the HBCU Coaches Corner. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hi there, this is Eva Cole. I'm Johnny's cousin from Hollywood, California.
Hey, girl. You supposed to be in Dayton, Ohio.
I am. That's my other home, too. But I'm just calling in to support Johnnie. And I just want to thank all the listeners out there for just listening in and wishing Johnnie the best.
Now, Ms. Cole, let me ask you a question. Can you give me a reason why TSU shouldn't hire Johnnie Cole?
No reason at all.
Well, hey, I want to thank you for calling. I appreciate you giving us a call. And is there anything you'd like to say, Coach Cole, to your cousin before she lets go?
Well, hopefully I'll see her this weekend at her granny's 90th birthday party. If not, you take care. You making us proud out there in California.
Sounds good. Let's get this movie going for you, Johnnie. We need to get you an LC on the movie screen, so hopefully we can make that come true soon.
Yeah, we're working on some
All
things.
right, take care.
Thank you. We're working on some things behind the scenes with me and LC's careers, and things are kind of looking good on that, Rocky.
Oh, okay. Well, she almost spilled the beans, Coach.
Yeah,
By she said something about a movie.
yeah,
You hadn't told me anything about that, Coach.
yeah.
You starting your acting career or something, Coach? What's going on?
No, man. I mean, with us having these talks and all the things that have taken place in me and my brother's career, and so we got a lot to talk about and a lot to share, in this world called football, in this world called HBCU.
So Coach, you talking about y'all got a movie, maybe like Remember the Titans or The Longest Yard or something like that tells the story of the Cole brothers and the Cole family or something like that out there?
Yeah, we're two Northerners come down south, to the south in HBCU football, and we were just before our time. When we were at Tennessee State, we had a football operations person. No black schools had that. You know what I mean? When we traveled first class. Hardly no black schools had that. We had a strength coach just for football. Nobody had that. We were winning so much, and there's so many people behind us that we started our own clothing line. T-shirts and hats. That actually went in the bookstore. We started that. You know what I mean? And then when we went over to Alabama State, it was the same thing. I mean, Coach, we played Turkey Day Classic. People was hanging from the ceiling. It's like watching one of those old baseball movies, with Jackie Robinson and all them, with people hanging all over to come and see us play, man. And so we kind of set the tone on a lot of things, and we got so much backlash, because you got to have a grandfather or a certain tie guy in the meetings when they're talking about it. We're well dressed. We come from a good family. Our mom, can't say enough about her, and a lot of that rubbed people the wrong way. You can't be real confident like Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan. Every time he win a championship, why has he got to win the championship all the time? Muhammad Ali, well, he talked too much. Then at the end of the day, beat him, and we were able to get beat by the pen and by behind closed doors.
Coach, we got another caller. We got a caller with the last four 3669. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Derek Singleton. I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
Go ahead, Derek. How you doing? Glad you could call. Can you tell me why TSU shouldn't hire Coach Cole? We got all the reasons why they should hire Coach Cole. Well, tell me why they shouldn't hire Coach Cole.
Well, I would just say this: shouldn't hire. I don't want to talk about the Texas Southern in any negative way because that is my alma mater. But I think hiring Coach Cole would definitely bring a lot of camaraderie back to the university. Also would give, the university back our winningest coach that we've ever had. To ever bring a championship to Texas Southern in the Martin era, I would say. There's no reason, that he shouldn't be brought back.
I definitely appreciate you calling in, Mr. Singers. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Make a contribution to your show. Since you said no, you called in and said no. We got a lot of people calling in saying no, Coach Cole. But is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I'd just like to, wish Coach Cole much success in his journey going forward, getting back to Texas Southern or either, in his current ventures that he's into now. Just, wishing him success and just say, man, just, God's will. That's what we roll with.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Thank you so much. Caller with the last four. Let me unmute him. Caller with the last four, 9672. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner with Johnnie Cole. Can you tell us why they shouldn't hire him at TSU?
why they should not hire. This is Anthony Adams.
Yes.
I am a longtime good friend of Coach Cole. Worked with him at Alabama State. I've been in college athletics. The question is, when you look at a lot of schools in particularly HBCUs that have losing programs, there's a reason why they lost. And this is a man who's been at other programs and took them and made them winning programs that they never won before. If you look at what Coach Cole did at Texas Southern, have they won since he left? If you look at what Coach Cole, LC Cole, and Johnnie Cole did at Lane College, won championships, and what they did before they got there, and what they have done since they've departed, have they won? Look at what happened at Alabama State, Tennessee State, all those places. So that proves that this guy is an outstanding football coach. And on any level.
Well, Coach,
the question is that I'd like to say that these institutions say that they fire coaches, after 2 years or 1 year. And what investment has the institution made in the program to be successful? Because that's the problem. You can't just keep changing coaches. And if you're looking for a coach that has taken an institution that has not won, and improve the program and raise it up to another level, and most coaches at that situation, they are rewarded with either long-term extensions, long-term contracts, or they get opportunities to go and master their trade at a higher level.
Can I push back on you a little bit?
Why is that?
Can I push back? Because
I
want to push back on this. I can give you an instance where an institution has stuck with a coach. They've stuck with a coach over the past 5 years, paid him handsomely, and for their commitment to staying with that coach, over the past 5 years, they've gotten 10 wins. Paid him over $1.5 million, and they've gotten 10 wins. So what do you say to that?
Well, it's not just the pay that you give to the coach, the head coach. You have to put things into the program. You have to put facilities into the program. You have to put money for assistant coaches to keep the coaches to retain talent. That's what people do in good businesses. They attract and retain talent. And they invest. If you look at the top programs, they invest back into their program because the program generates money for the school. And if you get more attendance, that's gate revenue. If you get more students applying to come to your school, that's up in applications. If you get more students attending your school, that's higher tuition, more tuition gains. You get more people staying in the school in the dorms. That's increasing your dorms. You get more alumni coming to the school and more donations. So that's what happens. But they just then you just change coaches like you change an underwear, and that's going to make you win. There's a certain formula to win, and Coach Cole has the formula to win.
Let me ask you this. How do you measure coaching success?
You measure it by, in the short term, it's about, you're in a competitive environment, right? If you're in a competitive environment and you're trying to compete in an environment where other people are very competitive and they're given more resources, you are not going to be able to
run a 100-yard race and win a 100-yard race when they're 90 yards down the road and you starting at the back. You ain't going unless the person has a heart attack at the 90th yard, they're going to finish the race before you. So my competitive is how if they win, if they graduate their students, if they have success with their students after graduation and have a good clean program. I mean, and when I say clean program, I mean a program where you're not having people murdered and incarcerated. You know, I'm not talking about a hamburger that you gave somebody, at a minor whatever thing. They don't even count now. When I'm talking about these guys have won at a national level, have produced national players. They got guys in the NFL. They got guys in that have won in that are. All you have to do is look at the record.
Yeah. Can I piggyback off of Mr. Adams, Rocky? At the end of the day, football is huge. Notre Dame is known for football. Florida State is known for football. Ohio State is known for football. And when football is winning, coach, everything opens up. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's important now, even with Michigan State, you know, they back in Harbaugh. They trying to push for a national title. Forget everything else because they know, like Mr. Adams was saying, you know, that enrollment is gonna go up, applications gonna go up, teachers gonna get. Hey, my man over in Alabama, the University of Alabama, and I don't want to compare apples to oranges, but I know when I was at Lane College, when I came in there, we had 600-700 students. By the time my third year there, we was up to 1,300 students. And the president said it himself, there's no doubt that annual giving is up, enrollment is up because our football team is winning. So I think that's how important it is to win football games.
Hey, Mr. Adams, I want to thank you for calling. We got quite a few more callers on the line, and I want to get those guys in. Thank you for calling. Caller with the last four of 2856. You're live on the HBCU Coach's Corner with Johnnie Cole.
Hey, Coach Cole.
Yes, sir.
Jonas Jackson, man.
What's up, Coach?
You look good, man. I just wanted to call and wish you nothing but the best, man. You look good. I love you. I have nothing but adoration and respect for you, man. And shoot, man, I can name one reason why I don't want to see him at Texas Southern, but we won't get into that right now. But hey, man, that's
hey, you still down the Prairie View, ain't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all going to the dance, baby.
And we got to win one more, man.
Y'all got to win that one.
They gonna win. They gonna win.
Huh?
They gonna win.
They got a tough Alabama State team.
We got to get it. We got to get it done.
Yes, sir. Y'all got a tough Alabama State team now. But y'all good too, Coach.
I know, man. They're getting it done.
Tell Coach McGowan. Tell Coach McGowan and them guys I wish them well.
All right, thanks, Coach Jackson, for calling.
Sir.
I appreciate it.
You got it.
We got another caller, Coach. Let me get him on the line. Caller with the last four, 5939. You're live on the HBCU Coach's Corner with Johnnie Cole.
What's going on, Coach Cole? How you doing?
What's going on,
Rocky? How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for calling in.
This is Matthew. Yeah, no problem. This is Matthew from Minneapolis. I have two questions for Coach Cole, and I got one question for you, Rocky. My first question for Coach Cole is, Coach Deion's total compensation, especially the final year, was $1.5 million, and it was comprised upon a Procter & Gamble grant as well as a Walmart grant. What ways, Coach Cole, do you think HBCUs to get creative to compensate coaches higher in the SWAC? That's my first question. And the second question is, how would you recruit in the new NIL area? Would you be like a third high school, a third transfers, and then a third JUCO, or do you have a different philosophy? And then my question for you, Rocky, is of all the programs, right, the blue blood programs, right, Grambling, Southern, Jackson State, you think Texas Southern might be, because of where they're geographically located and everything that they have going on with the school, might be one of the biggest sleeping giants? And then I yield. I want to hear what y'all responses.
Oh, go ahead, Coach Cole. Let me get my question. I can remember that, but you asked Coach Cole some very intricate questions.
Yeah.
One was he was talking about, do you think HBCUs should partner with corporate entities for compensation toward coaches? And then how would you formulate your roster from a recruiting standpoint in today's HBCU climate?
Yeah. First of all, as far as getting with other businesses, we got to be business minded, and we got to be able to work on people trusting our university. You know, we can't be in the newspaper every 4 or 5 years getting rid of a president or something going on wrong over there. And we got to be more business minded. We already, you know, if you go back and look at HBCU's attendance record in college football, we got one of the best attendance records in all of football. We get more fans than most of your lower Division I-A big school, quote unquote. But we got to be able to put packages together. And we got to quit asking for peanuts and start asking for steak. You know, but if you ain't never been there, you don't know what to expect. And we need to hire those people. You know, one of the things I said, if I ever became an AD at a black school, the first thing I'm gonna do is put money in marketing before I put money into scholarships, because I understand that we got to get off campus and promote the university. We got graduates all over the universities in great and grand places. I'm sure there's deals and, you know, where you give the school so much money and matching money. It's just so many things that we can't do. And then as a whole, the MEAC and the SWAC, and I've said this, Rocky, we need to package all of our classic games. So every week, just like they have game day, and they set it up and they tell the people and they walk it in, we coming, and everybody show up and look like, man, you know, that's how we need to do it. Give them our classic games. And so every week when that TV come on, not only are you seeing a capacity crowd, you seeing Chevrolet, you seeing Nissan, you seeing these major companies wanting to be a part. Man, black folks, man, we are the changing agent. You know, we invented the dancing, the singing, all that, the band fair, the cooking. But we for some reason we won't come together. Hopefully the HBCU TV go with Coach Simmons, with Curtis Simmons, great friend of mine, production guy. He's got Mr. Allen on his with him, one of his big major sponsors, that they will eventually get to that, you know, that. And I think we got to have those type of people, or hire those type of people and let them do their job. It's easy. We got the product. We just gotta love it ourselves and sell it. As far as recruiting, you know, on that level, Division I AA level, my man, I don't go out and try to satisfy people and sign all my kids by February, the second week in February for signing day. I get my best players either in the spring or sometimes in the summer. And that's my transfers and stuff. But I will recruit high school kids. But my focus first is come in, evaluate the team, and find out where we need immediate help at. And that'll be my recruit scheme.
And to answer your question, Matthew, about TSU, and and this is what I'll say, right? There is no reason why having only 2 major HBCUs that play football in the state of Texas, that they should have any have a void of talent at all. You know, whether you notice or not, Houston puts the Houston area puts more Division I football players in college than any other metropolitan area in the nation.
Wow.
And Coach Cole,
would you say it's over 100?
Beg your
Would
pardon?
you say it's over 100 players next year? Would you say it's over 100 players?
No. I think Houston puts somewhere around 350 to 400 players a year into Division I football. So again, in my opinion, if you just go out and I ain't never coached nothing on no level, but this is a common sense thing for me. If you just go look for the kids that are from Houston that's in the portal, you probably can put together a pretty good team. If you just look at the kids who are from Houston who would like to play in front of their mama and their daddy, right? You probably could put together a pretty good team just recruiting the guys from Houston in the portal. But I'm just saying, Coach, you could speak to that much better than I could.
Yeah, let me say this. And that's what everybody say, recruiting. Don't get me wrong. Recruiting is your legs of your program. But 1, you got to recruit the right way. 2, you got to recruit players that you need. And first and foremost, I will take a program over talent anytime. It's about the program. It ain't about you can get some talent in there, man.
Players come and go.
They will tear your program up if you don't know how to manage them. Programs win. It so happened these big schools, you know, these schools you see every year, they got the formula and they got the players. That's one thing about Texas Southern. We've always had great players, but never great teams, except but one. 2010 Sims.
Hey, show him the ring, Coach. Show him the ring.
All right. Oh, which one? Gee, all of them national championship rings.
No, I thought you had your 2 SU ring up there.
Yeah, it is right there.
Okay, Coach. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Hey, guys.
Because that shows it can be done, right? Right, Rob?
Yeah.
You know, Rock, that's one thing about when I talk to people, they start telling me, well, Texas Southern, this is what Texas Southern need to do. And I just look at them, Rob. You know, how you gonna tell me when I'm about, you know, I know what they need to do.
Hey, Coach, I want you to think about this question right here. We're not going to answer it now. I'm going to need you to hang on when we review the results of the games. We're going to get to this question right here. But basically, it talks about Southern and what you would do to replace Dooley. But we're going to get in our review of last week's games right quick, Coach, or we'll never get out of here taking calls. Y'all, we're going to give you a chance to make some more calls, but we want to get into our review of last week's games and talk about our picks. We'll get through it pretty quick so we can take a few more calls since you guys really are calling in tonight. So, Coach Cole, these are the results from Week 11. We got Morgan State and South Carolina State. Anything on this particular sheet jumps out at you. I know one of them jumps out at me, Coach.
Yeah, we had North Carolina Central head coach on, and they laid the egg.
Coach, hopefully we wasn't bad luck for Trey Oliver. Because if y'all go back last week, and I suggest anybody who didn't get a chance to see it last week, we had Trey Oliver on the show, and he was up late, preparing for Howard. So it wasn't because he didn't put the work in. He was definitely putting the work in late Monday night, and we had him on the show. But turns out that they traveled down up to Howard, and Howard had something for him. Had a 50 burger for him, Coach.
Yeah, I think they got a rival going there, Coach. A little bumping heads, and because North Carolina Central put 50 on them last year, and they kind of heard Coach kind of say that, and they got after Coach a little bit. I'm glad to see Norfolk finishing the year strong, but of course they beating the terrible Delaware State team, and William and Mary Hampton, that's that conference they in, the Big South. William and Mary, you're kind of running through that a little bit, but Hampton, they just ain't strong. They ain't consistent enough.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Coach. Let's go to our next group of games. Anything here remarkable? I think most of these games went the way we thought they would, Coach. There's nothing really surprising here. I also, I guess the biggest surprise of all these group of games, in my opinion, is Florida A&M only putting 28 on the homecoming queen.
Yeah, he probably rests his guys, Coach. I mean, Lincoln College is an NAIA club team, and I think he probably rested his guys and didn't want to get anybody hurt. Getting ready for the SWAC championship game. Like I told you, East Illinois, Tennessee State they hadn't really played nobody, and once again these PWI schools, whip up on them pretty good, and I want to say he did have a winning season. So, my hat goes off.
You spotted it pretty early, Coach. You told me they were catfish early in the year. I wanted to believe in Coach Eddie George and his team that they were on their way to competing for a conference championship. You didn't buy it at all. You knew it was catfish all the way around.
None of his wins was versus a winning program. And most of those programs only had 1 to 2 victories. So that wasn't no surprise. Grambling jumped all over UAB. A&T beat Rhode Island. Rhode Island beat A&T, which I was right on that one too. So nothing surprises this week.
Now, this one right here really caught me by surprise right here, Coach. Like, this one really, really got me on Sunday. Me and you were texting back and forth during this game. We're talking about the ALCORN and the Texas Southern game. Texas Southern jumped on them, Coach, and it was not even close, Coach.
It wasn't even close, And when you watch it as a coach and you evaluate things as a coach, you see different things. When you are evaluated as a fan or something, you like, oh, Texas Southern beat them 44-10. See, I told you Texas Southern was good. No, and I hate to say, no, you're not. Not after 5 years, you know what I'm saying? But as a Texas Southern grad and alumnus, yeah, I'm happy. But as a coach, I like to see teams come in. You need one game to go to the championship. They really handed it to you when you're playing a bottom team. But when you watch the game, it looked like Texas Southern was going to the championship and not ALCORN. They came out with speed. I'm going to give that to Coach McKinney, having those kids up and ready to play. I had to give him an F for that.
Coach, let me ask you this, Coach. Now, let me just put this in perspective because this is kind of what I saw. I'm a fan. I like to think that I know football really good. I think the elements forced them into a style where, one, if you look, ALCORN has struggled to run the football the whole year, right? They really lived off the passing game. Texas Southern has tried to pass, and that's really been their Achilles heel, for most of the year. In this game, they were kind of forced to run the ball because of the conditions. ALCORN was forced to run because of the conditions, and it was simply the team with the better rushing attack, the better running backs won the game. Did you see it that way, or did you see something else?
Well, without a doubt, Owens, the tailback for Texas Southern, had a great day. And he became the all-time leading rusher at Texas Southern. What I seen with ALCORN, I seen a quarterback that never set his feet. I seen a quarterback that always looked like that he was trying to find. He wasn't dropping back, looking at the reads like, what's my primary, what's my secondary receiver, and then I'm off. It was like scrambled football. It was like he was dropping back and trying to see who was gonna pop open, not knowing, with his pre-snap read and all that kind of stuff. A quarterback, when he gets that back foot, he should know where he's going with that ball unless he's flushed out. And I didn't see that. I'd never seen that quarterback set and come off and throw that football. And Texas Southern got up so fast and high. It's just like you said, the rain hurt them. They got down early. So I was very surprised. Coach McNair, I got to give him an F for preparation, for coming in there and not having those kids ready to play.
Then Alabama State did what we thought they would do against
Mississippi Valley. Alabama State got one of the best defenses, scoring defenses in the country. They got to be in the top 10.
Now this is one of the games where I think we went the other way. I picked Alabama A&M, and you went with Bethune-Cookman, and Bethune-Cookman really put it on Alabama A&M. That I didn't expect. Like I say, you were pretty sharp on that one, Coach. You picked that one, and that was a surprise to me.
I think Coach Maynard is a good coach, first of all. I just think he got one foot in and one foot out. And I kind of know some things behind the door and stuff of what's going on up there in that program. And, I think he might be out, by his choice, not necessarily by the AD letting him go. But they got some issues going on up at A&M and some moral stuff, like not moral, but wanting to be there. Nothing outside of his personal life, not none of that, but more of, do I want to be here at Alabama A&M?
All right, and then what I thought was the big game of the week, which what I see as a elimination game turned out not to be an elimination game because of the situation that happened in Houston, but Prairie View and Southern. Well, I guess it was an elimination game, and we may as well go ahead and talk about it somewhat. Seems like this is going to be Coach Dooley's final outing as the Southern head coach.
Wow. He leaves the school Prairie View in good shape and comes to Southern. And, the game is tough, Coach, and you got to get yourself up for these games, and Southern had the game for a while and was leading most of the game, and Prairie View just hung in there and made the plays when it had to.
Coach, what I find very interesting about this, Coach, is, Coach Dooley, essentially was competitive. His teams were competitive, right?
Right.
But yet his teams never really showed real improvement or a real indication that there had been progress made, right?
Right.
And so how do you balance that, Coach, when you're trying to make progress and you're being put in a position where you need to win as well? So is it possible to do both? You know what I mean? Make progress and also make a good showing while you're losing?
Well, see that, and see that's the thing. You're in year 2 of a 5-year deal. And you can't be egotistical. You can't be hard-headed. You got to sit down and see. Let me say this to you, man. You always talk about staffs. See, this is when you got to have staff that people around you that know more football than you, or know just as much as football than you, or not afraid to say, Coach, this is what we need to be doing. You know, look, Coach, we don't try this. We need to do this. You know what I mean? And then you got to be open-minded to say, you know something, you're right. I think one of the things he stayed with that quarterback too long. You know, if you're not, quarterback is judged on two things to me: pass completions and wins and losses. I didn't say yardage. I said pass completions and wins and losses to me. You know, make us win. If you can't make me win, then I got to get you out. You got to come on out of there. And I think that he didn't make those decisions.
I still, when I think about Dooley's coaching tenure at Southern, I go back to last year. And the reason why I go back to last year is they had a guy that he stuck with the entire year that ended up leaving the program, and a guy who was a program guy who had been there, who had won. I just know his name is Bubba, but Bubba was there. He ended up playing great in the SWAC championship game, but he was only played because he was forced to due to injury, and he played great. And I don't think he ever was able to get over that from the fan base, because the fan base had been,
you know, that quarterback is still on campus.
Really?
He just didn't want to play football no more.
Wow.
I talked to my people down there, and he's still on campus.
Well, you talking about McCray?
Yeah. See, being a former SU coach under Pete Richardson, the legend Pete Richardson, my coach, Pete Richardson, who would you focus on to replace Dooley, who has been officially been released by Southern? Oh, you said we're going to answer this later.
No, this is what I was going to bring it up while we were talking about this game. This is why I wanted to bring it up. It says, who would you focus on to replace Dooley? Bubba McDaniel. Bubba McDaniel was the quarterback who was the starting quarterback under Coach Odoms. And for whatever reason, when Dooley took over, he would not give Bubba McDaniel what I would consider a fair shot to be the starter. He brought a guy in to play quarterback only to struggle the entire year. And then when Bubba played in the SWAC championship, Bubba played lights out. He was really the only reason why the game was competitive, to be honest with you. And I don't think the Southern fans, the Southern alumni, ever got over the treatment of that player who had been a Jaguar for 3 years, who had played for championships and things of that nature, Coach. I just don't think I think he used all his goodwill up in that particular situation and circumstance, in my opinion. And the fan base just never got over it.
To me, that's one of the worst things a coach can do. It's just personal with a player. There's been players that didn't like me, and I didn't like them. But like I told them, as long as you do what I asked you to do, be on time, be at breakfast, be what you're supposed to, I ain't got no problem with you. I tell my players off the top, I'm not here to like you. You're not here to like me. I'm here to coach. You here to play. I'm here to push you towards graduating from school, number one, and playing championship football. Now, you do what I say, I'm gonna like you. You know what I mean? You do what I ask you to do, we gonna like each other and we gonna be friends forever. I got players on that championship team, boy, probably couldn't stand the ground I walked on. But long as they've done what I've asked them to do, show up on time, man, and we win championships and y'all graduate, I'm good.
Well, okay. I wanted Trophy Chaser correct me. He didn't start under Odoms, but he did start under Jason Rollins. He did start in front of Skelton for Jason Rollins the year before Dooley got there. So that's what I'm sorry. Yeah, you're correct. He didn't start under Odoms, but he did start under Coach Rollins. So my point was, he was a kid that was already there, who had already had a track record of playing, and it seemed like Coach Dooley had his mind that Coach Bashawn McCray was going to be the starter here, recruited him from somewhere else. I want to say Arkansas State, brought him in, made him the starter, started him above kids who were already there. And, you know, from the very first part, it went sour because you remember, Coach, they lost to TSU the first game of the season,
Yeah.
24-0.
Yeah, that was,
You know,
that was a bad showing, Coach. But both of those games, Coach, when TSU beat the other guy to get him fired, you know, because they hadn't won a game. TSU hadn't won a game till they beat them the first time. And then when he beat Dooley 24-0 in a classic, and it was an embarrassing 24-0, man, it was, you know, that's just tough, Coach. That's tough. That's tough. You know,
do any names come to mind, Coach, of guys that you like to see replace Odoms at Dooley at Southern?
Well, you know, I always got to go with my brother. I think Southern need an older coach, older winning coach to come in there and to run that program. I think, you know,
we're talking LC Cole, is that correct? LC
yes,
Cole.
I'm getting word from people on how the staff was ran and guys, you know, run things through a cell phone and have conversations with their players on the cell phone, and you know, that ain't happening. Southern's program is too good to have coaches in there like that. Those guys ain't serious about coaching football. You get in your car, you go over to the dorm, and you sit down with that kid and find out. You got Chennis Berry out there, you know, at Benedict, who also worked at Southern University, done a great job as the offensive line coach. You got Jabbar Jalouk. You know, he's a young guy. You know, I coached Jabbar Jalouk. He's a Southern graduate. I want to say he's either at Florida State or Florida or one of those Florida schools coaching. You know, I kind of question because he's never been a coordinator before. He's never been a head coach either, but he knows the Southern way. He knows the system, and hopefully, if he's chosen, he would surround himself with experienced coaches. Yeah, I mean those are some good coaches that I see that probably can come in there and get that program going in the right direction.
Now you mentioned something very important, Coach. You mentioned that it's not only about the head coach, but it's also about who you bring in as a part of your staff as well. And
ain't no question, Coach. And Coach, you know, I fired my best friend off my staff that wasn't getting it done at Texas Southern. And I told him I brought him here and I'm gonna send you home. Look, I'll fire my mama. I'll be honest. You know, of course she can move in with me, you know. But if we ain't getting it done, you know, and you ain't getting it done, you got to go. Yeah, Jalouk, you know, I coach him. He's over at LSU now, and he interviewed with Dooley at the time. And Jalouk, you know, is a kid that was a brainy kid as a player. You know what I mean? He knew about the game as a player. So I don't know. You know, I you know me. I'm one of them guys that, you know, you can't jump on the back of the seat and start driving my car.
Well, Coach, the thing that I find challenging about taking a guy that is not even a coordinator at the Power 5 level and promoting him to head coach is not so much my point, the experience that's going to be challenging, but meeting his expectations from a salary stand is going to be challenging. And then him having the network of guys that will work under him for the salaries that HBCUs pay. Like, he has a network of guys that are in Power 5 football, which those position coaches, I know, like I say, I know what those guys make.
Right.
You know, I know a defensive line coach at a Power 5 school that makes $600,000, coach. He's a D-line coach. He's not a
well,
he's not
the thing about Jaluk, he does know the law of the land over in Southern. You know, so he already know what to expect.
But would he take a pay cut to come to Southern though?
You right about that, coach. I don't know if as a running back coach, is he making more than $275?
Absolutely, coach. I would say as a running back coach, he's making anywhere from $400,000 to $500,000, coach, at LSU.
I wouldn't argue that point at all.
That's at LSU. Like I say, the Power 5 school I'm talking about is a private Power 5 school.
Right. And see, I'm a big advocate too. But when we get those black coaches up there, whether they come from the HBCU or wherever, they need to stay. They need to stay up there. Because you got the HBCU coaches that done went to school, graduated from school, been on the staff. Those are our jobs. You know, those 20 schools we got, NEAC and 20, you know, those are our jobs. And we got to swim and fight over them anyway. You know, I just don't see a HBCU school hard some white guy as a white coach. And you can turn on the TV every day, and I get sick and tired of watching on Saturdays these PWI schools and all these black players out there, even in the NFL. You know, I'll be honest. You know, and you have no idea how you can get there. You know what I mean? Because everybody you either don't went to school with ain't never coached up there and probably never will. You know, or you get lucky going to a camp and meet somebody. You know, it's just
you know what I find really peculiar, coach, and this is kind of off the subject. I find about really peculiar about particularly Power 5 coaches and NFL coaches. And this is what I say. The higher up you go, the lower percentage of coaches that actually played at that level coach. Why is that, coach?
You're right. Look at all the head coaches. Most of them some of them ain't even played football. The dude at University of Miami is some Yale graduate that put together numbers. So all he doing is playing Madden football in Miami. It's just like the one that just got let go at Raiders with the Raiders. He been riding what's my man at the Patriots, the head coach up there. He been riding that coattail forever. He ain't head coach.
Josh McDaniel.
Yeah, Josh McDaniel.
That's one thing I can say. Normally at the HBCU coaching level, just about every coach on staff played football. Like all of them. Like, yeah. I mean, I can't think of, you know, and again, I'm just saying the higher you go up, the less football you had to have played in order to qualify for those jobs. That's peculiar to me. It seems like, you know, and those jobs are reserved. You know, there's a certain section of those jobs that are reserved for players, well, people who can hire their sons, can hire their family members. You know, like McVay, you can look at McVay. People say, how does McVay get a job at the Rams at age 30? And you look at his pedigree, his grandfather was a GM for 30 years in the NFL. Do you think that had?
You know, Rocky, and those kids, because I'm going to call them kids, they get them jobs, man, and not one black person say nothing. Now let me get a job at the Rams. Man, they be all over the place. What the heck he doing up there? Yeah. And where we should fight and forget the pros. I don't want to talk about the pros because they own their teams up there. I want to talk about some of these colleges that they never
that we're paying taxes.
African American.
That we're paying taxes.
And we're paying taxes. And they're getting federal money. That has never hired a black player to be the head football coach, tennis coach, baseball coach, volleyball coach. Never.
They got one black coach
on staff. We say nothing.
The boys basketball coach.
Huh?
The boys basketball coach is the only black coach on staff.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we have penetrated basketball.
Yeah.
We have done that. you know, we are doing some good things there. But man, let me tell you something.
Hey, Coach, let's take a quick break. We're gonna take a caller right quick, Coach, because this guy's been holding for a while. Caller with the last 40527. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner with Johnnie Cole.
All right. Hey, thanks for taking my call. What I wanted to ask the coaches, take us behind the curtain there for recruiting, and how do you deal with, say, for example, a powerful alumni base that wants you to come there and recruit their players? Say, for example, the players aren't that good, but if you don't come, they threaten to stop the support or don't send financial support to you. How do you deal with that? Because I know a lot of times those are some things that we as fans don't know that happen sometimes with coaches. Just want to get your opinion on how do you deal with that.
Man, you know, I had an incident like that, and I recruited a kid, and I took a kid just because I knew the alumni. But when he got to the school, he had a busted kneecap, you know, and I didn't know. And, you know, but I was going to take him, you know, to please, because sometimes I guess you got to do that. But then when I found that out and the kid wasn't where we need to be, I ended up taking half of his scholarship. All right. But I knew that he had a sister there. So I knew that he could stay in an apartment with his sister. So I didn't want to, you know, kind of try to ruin the guy's life. Man, I mean, his father, man, jumped on me and came at me. I said, let me tell you something. I'm the head coach here. I'm the head football coach. And I believe in Frank Sinatra. You know, I'm going to do it my way. Well, come, the kid actually stayed in our program, lift weights, because he was a good kid, academically strong, good kid. And he stayed in our program. He got big, and I'm looking at that trophy. I mean, that ring there that he plays center. But that's when I was talking to you, Rock, about personnel. He came to us as a defensive tackle. We ended up moving him to center. You know, so that was what we were doing. You know what I'm saying? And you got to take one or two, you know, to feed those alumni. You got to make them. Whether you don't put him on full, put him on half scholarship, put him on a quarter. You've helped, you know, because recruiting is the legs of any program. Because when that school had one of them dogs, and you need them, you know what I'm saying? You gonna lean on that, you know. You know, I took Winnie the Pooh. Now I need Mandingo over there. So you know, you got to play that game, man. I don't been in the houses, and you know, if they religious family, I don't took my Bible with me and taught myself a couple of verses, and you know, I sit down in there and do whatever I need to do to get that kid to come to our school.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have just one more question. Also, Coach, I'm a former player myself. One of the things that I found that has become me, even I played back in the 80s, man. And one of the things that I'm finding that's kind of ironic is that I'm seeing a lot of guys that played at HBCUs, right, that have sons that will not send them back. You'll be surprised the number of guys whose son is in the NFL, their fathers played at HBCUs. And a lot of times when we have like chat groups or we get together, whatever, and I talk to the guys, you know, these guys are like, man, my HBCU experience was cool, but I don't want my son to go there. I don't want him to go Power 5. And some of them really don't have that kind of talent. But for some reason, a lot of guys, they just won't send their sons back. Now, some of them do, but you'll be surprised, man, guys that went to FAM that will send their sons to Florida State. I mean, it's just one of those things that you just kind of, somewhat it's shocking because, you know, it's like, man, you played, you were good, you know, go ahead and try to continue to uplift the university because that's the only way we're going to do it. Your gene pool, sending it back there and being able to make the school great. But a lot of guys will not do that, man. They're sending their sons other places, Power 5, and they prefer to do that. I mean, and to get your opinion on that, I'll listen offline. Thank you.
Hey,
well,
thank you for calling, caller.
that's first of all, that's my choice, and I gotta know my kid. If my kid first can go there and get along socially, that would be big to me, and let's face it, man. You know, if somebody is offering you a Ferrari and somebody want to put you in a Volkswagen, you're gonna want your people, and I get it. You're gonna want them to drive the Ferrari, but long as the Ferrari is taking them in the right direction, and so I always can fall back, on a smaller school. So I don't necessarily deal of it as an HBCU or it's just a lower level and when I can play on a higher level and have a better chance of my son. And it don't matter where you play at. See, back in the day, people thought that scouts watched TV, Rocky. Jerry Rice is one of the reasons why scouts go to every HBCU school every year. Because San Francisco 49ers came to a game. No, it was Jerry Rice.
Oh, okay.
Came to a game. When Walter came out, they were getting drafted left and right. When Jerry came out of Mississippi Valley, we were playing Jerry and them in Houston. This true story, because Bill Walsh even told the story on the special. They got into Houston and they said, well, let's go over here and see this kid from Valley. And they were playing against us. And that's where they seen Jerry Rice and San Francisco chose him, I think number 26, 27 player in the draft. And he became the best all-time wide receiver ever.
Some arguably the best football player to ever play.
And they missed out on me because I threw 6 touchdowns that night. True story, Coach.
Hey, I would say they missed out on you.
Coach, and my boys is probably watching the show. Daryl Coleman and Donald Narcisse and Leonard Moon and Rudy Johnson. They called them all, Coach. Coach, that game was like 54, 62, 54, something like that.
Coach, unfortunately, Coach, during that era, just to point out what it was like during that era, is that you were an accomplished quarterback, but back then, they wasn't even looking at black quarterbacks as an option back then.
No.
Greats like yourself and Willie Totten weren't even considered as NFL quarterback.
Willie got an opportunity to go to Buffalo. He actually played for the Bills that's when they had the lockout.
Oh, okay.
Totten actually got a chance to play and start.
Scab players.
Yeah, scabs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story, Coach. That's a great story. Let's get back to let's make our picks and we can get out of here, Coach. We're gonna take a few more callers if you want to call in. Again, the number is 518-351-9464. We'll take a few more callers before we get out of here. All right, Coach, I'll pick this first one. UAPB at Texas Southern.
Hell to Texas Southern.
I'm going to pick Texas Southern this time, Coach. I think this is my first time picking Texas Southern.
Yeah, ain't no question, man. They should win. I hope the coach, they playing at home as well. We got the leading rusher in the conference. He also broke the school record this week in Owens, Ladarius Owens. Hat off to you. Great job.
Let me ask you this, Coach. Can a guy playing on a team with 2 or 3 SWAC wins be the offensive player of the year or the SWAC MVP?
Well, if you look at it, Coach, they just talking about this year, ain't nobody really blowing it out the water offensively. I think we got one team maybe average 30 points a game, and that's Florida A&M. And they kind of do it all over. I told you I ain't real impressed with the quarterback. And this kid for Texas Southern been running all year. He been putting up 100, 200 on people all year. You know what I'm saying? So I think he will be chosen as the player of the year.
Okay.
Offensive player of the year. Maybe even the whole player of the year.
The MVP, okay.
Yeah, MVP.
So let me go with this, Coach. You can pick this one Florida A&M at Bethune-Cookman.
Throw the records out, but I got Florida A&M. Bethune-Cookman just still a startup program. I just don't see them beating Florida A&M.
Now this is a huge. This next, and I'm gonna take Florida A&M as well. Now this is a huge game. This is a huge game, and Prairie View has been in this situation 3 years in a row. And what I mean by that is the last game they had to win in order to get a chance to win the play for the SWAC championship. The first year it happened under Coach Dooley, they lost, but they still were able to go because I think so Southern ended up losing or somebody ended up losing as well. And so Prairie View went ahead and went to the SWAC championship. I mean, Prairie View went to the SWAC championship. Last year, the only thing they had to do was beat Valley, and they lost, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the best defense in the SWAC is coming to town, and Prairie View needs to win in order to go to the SWAC championship. What do you think is going to happen on this game, Coach?
It's gonna be a tough football game. I think Alabama State, of course, their defense is lights out. Problem is they can't score. It ain't like Prairie View running up and down the field at all. I think the game will be won on who has the less turnovers. And so I'll choose Alabama State.
Coach, I'm going to take Prairie View on this one. The game is at home, and I hope a few Prairie View fans show up for this game. It's the weekend before the holiday. Last time they had this game against Mississippi Valley, I want to say 700 people showed up, Coach. I mean, it was really poor showing of fan support. So anyway, I'm going to take Prairie View on this because I really want them to go to FAMU and try to redeem themselves on that 45-7 shellacking that they had. And so I'm going to pick Prairie View. Mississippi Valley State and Alabama A&M. Who you got, Coach?
I'm going to take Alabama A&M. I just don't think Maynard will lay down. I think they got enough firepower to outscore Valley. So I'm going to take Alabama A&M.
I agree. I'll take Alabama A&M as well. Now, this is another big game, Coach. And it has implications in who's going to play for the SWAC championship. Again, if ALCORN loses this game, they're out of it, right? Mm-hmm. If they win, then, of course, Prairie View has to lose. Jackson is a really tough opponent, has been really tough these past 3 years. And I just can't see them losing at the vet to Alcorn, considering what I saw. I can't unsee what I seen last week, Coach. I just can't unsee. I think Jackson State is going to run the football. They're just, again, I can't unsee what I saw, and so I got to take Jackson State on this one.
Well, this is the Soul Bowl. Okay. This is traditional game between Alcorn State and Jackson State. Jackson State got something to play for. But I just didn't like Alcorn's body language through the whole game at Texas Southern. And then when the kid hit the one kid and got the personal foul call, winning football teams don't do that, And I just didn't like none of it. And then when they went to say something to the kid, the camera flashed on it, the kid lashed back out. I see some problems over there. You know what I mean? I see a lack of control. T.C. Taylor, the kids wanted him there. I think he got more of a handle of his football team. I'm going to take Jackson State.
And, Coach, speaking of Coach Taylor, we hadn't talked about him since midseason. But, when you chalk it up, I think they're going to end up, 8? If they win this one, they're going to be 8-3, 7-4.
Mm-hmm.
For a first-year coach. What is your assessment of Coach Taylor in his first year after the prime era?
Well, I think it went well. I mean, 74 is not a bad year. when you lose half of your NIL players. You know what I mean? You lose your quarterback, you lose your wideout, you lose your linebacker, you lose your tailback. You know, you lost some more players. So, you know, you lost some of the staff members. So I think he's done a heck of a job there. And I take my hat off to him. And I look forward to him getting that program back where it used to be.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. And then our last slate of games, which is the MEAC. And surprisingly, Coach, the MEAC is up for grabs in the final week of the season.
Yeah.
You and I kind of thought it would be a foregone conclusion at this point that NCCU would be playing in the celebration mode.
Yeah. You know, Howard's pretty good. You can't sleep on them. They play in the PWI conference. So they've lost some games. But you can't sleep on Morgan State. You know, Morgan State is the next up-and-coming program over in the MEI. Norfolk State, South Carolina State, man. Hey, that's a game for the bottom, ain't it? Delaware State won't be. North Carolina Central will bounce back and bounce back strong. They need a big game. Campbell will beat North Carolina A&T. Elon will beat Hampton. And Tennessee Tech will beat Tennessee State.
Okay, Coach. I want to get this clear because Morgan State against Howard. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Morgan State on this one. Who you got on this one?
I got Howard.
Okay. I just in this game, in this position, Morgan State, they're not gonna be able to run the ball on Morgan State.
Right.
The quarterback, Q Will, I think he has shown a propensity to throw it to the other team when Howard is forced to be one-dimensional. Morgan won't score a lot of points, but they won't give up a lot either. So I just think Morgan State's going to pull it out. But I wouldn't be surprised if Howard wins. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
I got you.
Norfolk State, South Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and take Coach Odoms on this one. Who you got?
I'll take South Carolina State.
Okay. Delaware State and NCCU. I think Trey Oliver and the Eagles are going to bounce back for sure.
Yeah, they need to get that playoff berth.
Yeah, I'm with you with Campbell and Elon and also Tennessee Tech, Coach. I just, I think Tennessee State, they had a good run, but their run is over. Yeah. And they're going to finish their season this year with 3 consecutive losses. In Eddie George's 3rd season, what is your assessment?
Man, Eddie is trying his best. It's almost like taking a calculus test when you only have done algebra. And so he's kind of struggling, and they trying to do everything they can to help make this team win, and it's really not working. I just don't think Eddie has it. I don't think his interest is there. It shows when I watch him on the sideline and how he goes about. But who's going to turn down $400,000? And so I just don't think that he really has that interest of playing, especially when he played at the highest level in the pros and in college. It just ain't there. And his personality ain't that type of personality. So his love is not there. He's at Tennessee State. I've been there. I worked there. My daughter graduated from there, got an undergrad. So I know what it takes to get that program running in the right direction.
Hey, Coach, this has been an amazing show, Coach. We've covered a lot of ground. You gave us an hour and 40 minutes, Coach. So I want to appreciate you for being patient this entire time, man. We've had a great show. We had a ton of callers calling in, and I want to give them a couple minutes in case we have a few more calls to call in, but just want to recap some of the things that we discovered while we were on the show. Dooley, Eric Dooley, the former Southern head coach, has been let go. You know, we covered that. We also covered that Coach McKinney from Texas Southern has also been let go.
Rumor.
All right. Rumor, Coach. How many, without being specific, do you anticipate any more coaching positions in the SWAC to come open?
Well, look at ALCORN, question mark. Alabama A&M, question mark. And maybe Grambling, where he's choosing to leave, not that he'll be let go.
Wow, Coach. With that being said, that looks like that's half the jobs in the SWAC are going to be available.
Probably could, Coach. Probably could.
Now, why did you throw ALCORN in there as a potential of being open?
Well, it's been grumblings down there anyway. Down there, and some of them think McNair has ran his course. And then this play that they just had this past week, it's got to be. And I've talked with some of my ALCORN Knights, and they just very, very disappointed.
Wow.
Very, very disappointed. And, and he has some things going back and forth about the program and the support he's getting from the university. So it's tough. It's tough there.
Let me ask you this here, Coach. Could a down west put some unrealistic expectation on some programs that really weren't on the upward trajectory? Like I'll put it like this. If Southern, TSU, Grambling, UAPB, the West schools, if it wasn't a down year, would coaches like McNair and Dooley and all those coaches, would they have still been fired? Because I believe like the expectations of them winning could be unrealistic if there were competent coaches and programs throughout the West. You know what I mean? But I think the incompetence or the lack of a dominant coach or program in the West had certain programs having unrealistic expectations. Do you think that could have contributed to all the turnover that you anticipate happening?
Each school has its own flavor about itself. I know Southern depends on their football program. They depend on people buying tickets. You know what I mean? And that's what they depend on. And so they serious about their football. Some of the other schools don't necessarily depend on that. Texas Southern don't depend on that to help run the school or to help run the athletic department. So that's that. But it was a down year, and trying to put things together. Yeah, but I think it's more of the personnel, the coaching personnel, the coaching carousel of what's going on in SWAC football.
You've been around this SWAC football and HBCUs a long time, Coach. To me, as a fan that just came on a few years ago, it seems like there's been an awful lot of turnover since Coach Sanders came into the space or Coach Prime came into the space. Is it this kind of turnover typical for HBCU football, or is this a unique era?
Well, you had Jackson State dominate in the 80s, Grambling, and then in the 90s, when Pete Richardson came in there in the middle of the 90s, he kind of dominated. But you always had a great Jackson State team, a great Grambling team. ALCORN would pop up. Southern University would be in there up and down. you know, and you always had older coaches that was teaching us how to come up and how to coach and passing the baton. But since the 2000s, and I'm gonna tell you, this might sound funny, when Jerry Jones started getting involved with the Dallas Cowboys and trying to act running the team, all of a sudden all these athletic directors start becoming stronger and want to be the face of the athletic department. And you just kind of seen a turnover. As you say, all these turnovers coming. Guys, coaches getting hard without going through what they supposed to. And I ain't even talking about Deion Sanders. You know, and because when I started becoming a head coach, you had Broadway, you had Doug Williams, you had L.C. Cole, you had Pete Richardson. You know, you had coaches that was deep, you know, been coaching for 30 years, been places. And all that changed.
Mm. Now we have another SWAC historian who has commented it's the same turnover that they have in any other conference. The SEC has this type of turnover. Again, you know, I agree with you to a certain extent, Bishop Campbell. But when people talk about HBCU coaching and what I remember, you know, as a casual fan, I heard names that like you just mentioned. I heard names like Eddie Robinson, Doug Williams, Kamachi, Pete Richardson. You know, those are the kind of names that I heard about legendary coaches that had a lot of tenure in the SWAC.
Grambling ain't had a lot of turnover. Jackson State ain't had a lot of turnover. All this just started in the early 2000s when Jackson State got away from hiring Jackson State guys and hired a guy named Bell. That program went straight to the ground. Before then, Jackson State had W.C. Gordon in the 80s. Man, his mind just went over.
The Kamachi? You talking about Kamachi?
No, I'm talking about they had W.C. Gordon, and his name just went out my name, but then they had Coach Humphreys at Jackson State. But all of them was Jackson State guys. Then they brought in this Coach Bell, and that program went down. Texas Southern, yes, has had turnover. Prairie View, yes.
He said Carson, the guy gave the name of Carson.
Yeah, Coach Carson. Coach Carson took that program over for almost 8 or 9 years. Then the coach behind him was his defense coordinator, took it over. And then they got away from going to PWI coaches. Prairie View had a lot of turnover. Valley didn't even have a lot of turnover. You had Archie Gunsling, Cooley, and then you had my man that used to wear the hat all the time. Then you had Willie Totten. You know, they didn't have a lot of turnover. All this just started, all this turnover in the SWAC.
Wow.
Alabama State had Coach Markham, right? All through the 90s. Then they had Coach Cole, early 2000s. Then they had Charlie Cole. Then they had my man, Coach, I'm reading the blank. Then they brought in Jenkins, you know. But all those they had pretty good records.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Alabama A&M ain't had a lot of turnover. They hadn't had a lot of turnover. So no, that's not necessarily true. We in Black College, we didn't used to be that way.
Well, it seems like they turning over a couple. We have a call on the line. Caller with the last 4, 1067. You're live on the HBCU Coach's Corner with Coach Cole. What's your name and where you calling from?
Rocky, this is Steve Campbell, man. How you doing, man? Great show. Coach Cole, how you doing this evening?
Man, I'm wonderful. How you doing?
Man, I'm wonderful. Coach Cole, look, I come from the old school. My family, my grandfather graduated from Jackson College in 1938. I have seen literally every top SWAC player. I'm 50 plus years old. So I've literally seen every top SWAC and MEAC player in the last 50 years. Walter Payton ate in my house. The reason why I called, because Coach Cole, you're going to understand this, because Rocky's asking a question. See, Rocky, here was the thing. Coach Gordon, Coach Casson, Coach Richardson, Coach Robinson, these guys actually had coaching trees.
Yes.
Coach Gordon literally had 4 or 5 coaches that had left that went to coach other teams. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Coach Cole, didn't Houston Markham, wasn't he on WC Gordon's staff?
Yes, he was.
Houston Markham? Yeah. So he went and won a Black College National Championship. See, Rocky, so what has happened is when the SEC, but you got to understand something. The SEC, the SWAC was the SEC before the SEC. When
Absolutely.
the SEC money came in, what happened is now the guys, like, I'll give you a perfect example. Cadillac Williams down at Auburn, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So they got him down there as a running back coach. Now, he's stuck forever being a running back coach. Okay? That would have been a guy that would have been on WC Gordon's staff, that would have been incubated, raised, and been ready to coach.
Yes.
Because what? He's making more money than probably all the coaches in the SWAC and MAC as a running back coach.
Right. And they
So when you can't get the talent up, and when you can't get these guys to grow in it, because what happens is you look at KJ Black, right? He was down there with Willie Simmons' staff.
Yes.
Coach KJ Black probably would have been a great HBCU coach, but guess what? I mean, he wasn't making any money. He's out there at the Rams.
Right.
He's gone.
And he don't need to come
back.
Go ahead.
Exactly. There you go, Coach. So the problem is what we've had is when we were the only game in town for black coaches, because you're going to understand something. There was, and Coach Cole knows this, in the 70s and 80s, there were very few black coaches, period. In predominantly white colleges, okay? So these great coaches, we had them. So we were able to grow them, incubate them, and stuff like that. And like I said, I can literally, if I start thinking about that Jackson State coaching tree, it's like 4 or 5 head coaches that came out of that staff.
Hey.
So when you don't have that anymore, then you see the turnover what you have now, because we're not able to grow a program. So like you look at Willie. Willie is the most stable coach in the SWAC right now. He only been there 3 years and 2 years. He's only been there 5 years.
Oh, say, but so
you need to grow a staff and go ahead.
No, so under that premise, right? You would say that a school would look at somebody on Willie's staff who's been with Willie for a while, because currently that's the most successful program in the SWAC, and Southern, or whether it be Southern, TSU, anybody with a vacancy, shouldn't they be looking at somebody that Willie has mentored or coached under Willie as the next?
But that's
coach?
My point. But you prove my point. They don't stay like Coach KJ Black would have been the person, but he's gone. So you can't get a guy that Willie just put as offensive coordinator. He's only been there a year.
Okay, I got you.
But here's the other thing, my man, that I know you ain't missed, because what I said, you go, then in these early 2000s, we started going out and hiring white guys as offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators. So at one time, there were 20 black schools, major black schools, played football. And you got 20 of them was white guys. So then now you give them our jobs, and now we got to work. So that's what started happening.
There you go, Coach.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I got a coaching tree. I got defensive back coach in Pittsburgh, offensive line coach at Michigan State, running back coach in Arkansas, quarterback coach at Baltimore Ravens. Nobody knows that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying about how our conference have died because of the knowledge and the coaching. You know, everybody want to jump in that seat, but don't nobody want to go through it. And I just believe in that. I believe that you got to go through it. So when you're in that seat, you know what you're looking at, and you know what you're looking for.
You know, I saw, and you probably saw the same interview, Coach. Matter of fact, Mr. Campbell, you probably set the interview up, to be honest with you. I saw Willie Simmons on Off Script show a few weeks back.
I did.
and it was so it was such a great interview, but he said something very important, I thought, that coaches who coach under in the Power 5 and Group of 5 arena if they come back to look at jobs at HBCUs, they can't stick it out, or you know what I mean, because they're not used to working under whatever the condition is at HBCUs.
And here's my thing: don't come back, but bring somebody with you. Take somebody with you. We get up there and forget all about it. I just named you 5, 6 coaches that worked on my staff that I ain't even heard from.
That's a great. But let me ask you this, Mr. Campbell. What exactly, systemically, what are we doing to the Black college experience from a football standpoint when there is so much turnover in Black college? Because what I remember I may not knew where Grambling was on the map, but I damn sure knew who Eddie Robinson was. You understand? So these people aren't able to build the brands. These coaches aren't able to build these brands that were there. So how is it affecting the overall experience of HBCU football and HBCU sports with all the turnover that's happening?
Well, that's the problem. When you have turnover, you never get consistency, right? You never get buy-in. And Clarence Kenny made a great point right here. We never can out-Trump, but it's not even about out-Trump. It's about just making enough money to be comfortable, right? When you got position coaches that are making $50,000, $60,000, that's just not sustainable to get anybody of talent. We at least got to get our weight up where position coaches are making 6 figures. See, and that requires an investment from the alumni. And it really does come down to the alumni, because we understand we're going to be underfunded. So if we really care about our athletics, we got to say, hey, you know what, coach or athletic, what do you need to have a good quality staff? You know what? I'm going to need X amount of dollars in salary. And we got to try to hit that goal. But we have to get that, because again, what happens is to that turnover. See, this is the thing what Deion did, which somebody who saw every great Hall of Fame player in the last 50 years. Deion, what he did was he said, you know what? You guys come to Jackson State. You know what? We don't have this, we don't have that, but I'm going to make you at least where it's comfortable. Because what you find out in life, you really don't need as much as you think you need to make you happy.
If you're doing what you love.
So then he started bringing these kids. Exactly. So then these kids are like, man, you know what? I ain't got this super great wait table and food table like Georgia, but I tell you what, I got enough to eat, and I'm down here on the plaza, and I'm looking at all these fine-ass J-sets. Man, this is a pretty life. And I got the boom, and it's people that look like me. That is worth $1 million because of the experience that you get. Coach Cole understands this. I'm pretty sure when he brought his players on there, they didn't have what Texas A&M and Texas, but Coach Cole put them in an environment. They're like, Coach, this is pretty cool.
But see,
and they told their friends. They said, man, come on over here.
And one of the things, too.
So this is the thing.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I just step in and say this, Coach? Yeah. My most successful friend in life, the guy who's made the most money, is getting paid the most money that I know of, he went to HBCU. He went to Prairie View, right? Later on, we'll go get a master's from Clark. I would say
wait, Rock, I got to tell you a funny story. Rock, I got to tell you a funny story. So I have a lot of friends from the Cowboys. Kevin Smith, Leon Lett, my girl, all them guys. Those are my boys, okay? Kevin went to Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. So I know Quentin, Corey, Sam. I know all them boys. Let me tell you the funny things you just said. And I'm not going to say the player's name out of respect. But, he hit me up. He said, Steve, let me tell you the fun, because we were friends on Facebook. He said, man, let me tell you something. Now, he went to Texas A&M, okay? And he said, man, you want me to tell you the person the non-football player I know make the most money is my boy that went to Prairie View. He just said that to me literally last month.
Well, like I say, that's my case, and this is what Mike told me. Yeah. And I was a guy that turned down a visit to Prairie View coming out of high school, right? So turned down a visit to Prairie View coming out of high school. But this is what Mike told me. Mike wasn't a football player; he just was a student. And Mike said, "Rock, I wouldn't have graduated college if I hadn't went to Prairie View. I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
There's no way I would have graduated college unless I was at an HBCU. And he didn't say that from a standpoint of what kind of student he was, right? He said that from the standpoint of what the support system afforded him while he was going to college. You know what I mean? And versus what the support system existed at if he had went to North Texas or Texas A&M or those other colleges. Because, you know, it's different there when you don't have money.
let me say this. Let me butt in for real quick. That's why it's so important to hire a head coach. Everything you said about the money is all true. That's why when you get a good head coach, it's his system, it's his program. So whatever comes out and comes in, they run his program. Nick Saban is he don't care who he hire, this is what we gonna do. And that's why it's so important to hire coaches with backgrounds and pedigrees of being successful because they have successful programs. There's coaches out there that will coach for $40, $50, $60, $70. See, people don't understand some of those white guys for Deion Sanders, none of them guys was getting paid. But because they coached in the pros and at some of these PWI schools making $1 million and $400,000 or $500,000, they can afford to live on their own until they catch on. And he took them all with him to Colorado. So that's why it's so important about programs and who you are around you. You got to have a program, a winning program, and to be successful. And these ADs don't understand it. They think, well, let me just get a head coach. No, you can't hire a guy that's been driving a Volkswagen and then you go give him the keys to your Mercedes-Benz and expect him to take care of it. You can't do that. And then when you do it, that's why all this turnover is happening. That's my little deal on it because, you know, we had coaches that's not making money. At Lane College, I made $75,000. I was paying coaches $40,000. We had 7 scholarships. 7. I beat everybody except for Tuskegee. It's about the program. And you take what you got and you make it. You turn a quarter into $1. I used to go out and lime the fields at Lane College. I remember when Jacoby Jones got drafted in the 3rd round, we had 20 scouts coming out. You think I was going to let them show up in my program? I went out there and lined the field myself. He still think he ran a 4.4, but that wasn't a 40-yard. That was a 37 and a half.
Coach with the home cooking.
Yes, coach. So, you know, man, look, hey, I get it, man. I get it. Everybody want, you know, dimes. And if you can't take a guy from a mansion and move him into the projects and say, okay, turn these projects around. It ain't gonna happen, man.
Hey, last question for you, Coach Campbell, or Mr. Campbell, since you've been on the call. A few guys have mentioned the name who's the running back coach at LSU, right? The guy could take the Southern job and never had to move his family, right? But with a guy who's a Southernite, graduated from Southern, currently the running back coach at Texas A&M, LSU. What do you think he'll take that pay cut to become the head coach?
Well, this is the problem. And coach is gonna be able to speak to this. You have a love for school, but then you got a love of family. And most times, love of family always pulls harder than love of school because his wife is living a certain type of way. His kids are living a certain type of way. So what happens is not him because you know what? He could love some. I'm gonna say, men, we don't need it. Goes back to my point about what you really compared to what you need to live compared to what you want to live. See, there's 2 different things. But where his wife want to live might not match up the way he needs to live. You see? And that's the reason why it's so difficult for people like that to make that jump back because he could come to Southern and do great things, right? But see, he's already making a lot of money. And let me tell you another thing too, and Coach is going to know exactly. You know how many times that white people have lied to him and say, hey, you stick around here a little bit longer, guy. You're going to be an offensive coordinator pretty soon. So they've been feeding him that BS too now.
Yeah.
What do you think they told Cadillac for Cadillac to stay? I'm going to use Auburn because Cadillac should have gotten that job. He has done everything that he was supposed to do, and he still did not get that job the way he was supposed to get it. But you know, they told Cadillac, just hang around there, Cadillac, you know, just because you know you're the next guy up. They did the same thing.
They keep giving him zeros there. But I'm going to call Jamar Jaluki.
They
tell him, is he crazy to come back? I tell all my young coaches, if you up there, man, stay. I was up there. Stay up there as long as you can. If you ever want to come back to a black college, come back at the end of your career after you don't made enough money to deal with us. You know, we gonna do something. Grambling gets rid of Doug Williams on the 25th year of his anniversary of winning the Super Bowl. Instead of you giving a fundraiser, you getting rid of a SWAC legend. Second game of the year. You don't do him like that. If he ain't robbed a bank or broke the law, you don't do Doug Williams like that. But we done it. You know what I'm saying? It's just stuff that we do, man, that we'll tear our nose off despite our face. And that's why we get the rap that we get. And that's why Rocky always saying, man, HBCUs, when y'all serious about playing football, let me know.
Well, you know, I just think when you and you may have a comment about this, Mr. Campbell, when you bring in your guy and like the way Southern brought in Dooley, like they brought in Dooley as their guy. And not because he was a winning coach, not because he was a champion or anything like that. They brought Dooley in because he was their guy. And he comes in and they sour on him so fast, man. I don't know what that says about HBCU football or what. I obviously Southern wants to win, right?
Right.
But what did they think they were bringing? Did they think they were bringing in Nuke Rockney or a championship coach when they brought him in? Because that's not what he was.
Well, see, that's my problem with the whole Southern deal. He went to the SWAC championship last year. No matter how he got there, he got there.
Well, you know he got there. Yeah.
So the fact that they didn't even give him a chance to build that program and really think that portal, because see, that portal is fool's gold for a lot of these programs. Because I tell people this all the time. Yeah, you can get programs, but you know why FAMU is good? Because those kids have been in that program for 3 years now. And then we added guys to sprinkle in. But a lot of those guys have been there. Gentle Hutt has been there. Kendall Bowler has been there. These guys have been around. So they get it. They know what they're doing. So you built a culture. So that's the problem. So I just don't like unless again, because everybody keeps saying Chisbury. If that's the whole thing, then okay, I get it. If they say, you know, that's the guy we really want, we think he's going to be more innovative and stuff like that. But that's who they better hire. Because if they don't, Southern is going to fall back and they're going to be in a hole like they were. And Coach is going to understand what I'm saying is back when Southern was in the 80s and they were really known as a band school.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Mr. Cam, I appreciate you calling in. We're about to wrap this up, Coach.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Coach Cole.
Man, I got to catch this flight red eye tonight.
All right, Coach. Take us out.
All right, man. Look, hey, man, great crowd. I look forward to next week. Talk some more about what's going on, these championship games. Again, if you feel yourself at the end of the rope, things ain't going right, you tie a knot and you hold on tight because ain't nobody bad like you.